Ace Atkins abandoned a successful mystery series, the Nick Travers novels, to focus on real crimes in real cities, Tampa, Florida, and Phoenix City, Alabama. I spoke with Ace Atkins at the 11th Annual Alabama Literary Symposium in Monroeville, Alabama. Well, Ace, good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Last time we spoke, you had finished 4 Nick Travers novels, and you told me at the end of that, when I asked you at the end of that interview, what are you going to do next? You said, well, no more Nick Travers. I'm going in a new direction. Yeah. And you have been going in a new direction. You're now the author of 2 standalone novels, still crime novels, noir, mystery, murder, but not a series.
No.
Why did you leave what was obviously working very well?
Boredom. I had a lot of fun writing those books, but essentially what I had been doing, writing my Nick Travers stories, were traditional detective books. Yes. They were very much cut in the mold of Hammett and Chandler, and I really didn't feel I was bringing anything new to the table. I enjoyed those books. They were great fun. They seemed to be picking up a readership, but I wanted to do something that other writers were not bringing to readers. It's something that I felt people could really become fascinated with and interested in. And for me, being an old reporter, it's true stories. And those true stories are the ones that you really can grab the reader with and that people really want to know more about. And once I started down that path, writing straight fiction did not have the same allure.
Well, there are 4 Nick Travers books. He is a professor of, is he a professor of American Studies, sociology?
Southern Studies, American
Southern
Studies.
Yeah. At Tulane.
Right.
And his mysteries are mostly up in the Delta.
Right. And there's always beautiful women involved and psychopathic killers and all kinds.
Steamy
sex.
Well, I was thinking about the weather, but yes,
steamy, yes, and the weather.
It's always terribly hot in the Mississippi Delta. Well, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle killed Sherlock Holmes, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but Walter Mosley has just killed Easy Rawlins. You didn't kill Nick, though.
No, I reserve the right that if we ever get a movie deal, I can pull him out of the closet and put him back to work. So,
and Nick was good for you, and you bought a farm outside of Oxford, Mississippi. Are you farming?
I do a little farming. I wouldn't say I'm a farmer, but I do raise my own vegetables, and I have a pretty nice little chunk of land where I raise corn and tomatoes, and I enjoy it.
But you're in Faulkner country. Did that play any part in choosing to live near Oxford?
It did. I mean, initially the main reason that brought me to Oxford was to teach. And I came in to teach at the Ole Miss Journalism School, and I did that for 4 years, and I enjoyed that very much, but it was certainly a part-time profession. It was not in any way my main job. My main job was writing books. But certainly to anybody who is a serious novelist, the draw of being in Faulkner country and seriously just wrapping yourself in that world is extremely attractive, and I love it. And I had always read Faulkner in college. I had been told to read Faulkner, but it really obviously comes alive when you're living there in Yoknapatawpha County.
Do you sense that people in Oxford, I know they market Faulkner, no two ways about that.
But do they read?
Do they read Faulkner? Is he a part of their lives in any meaningful way?
I have to be very careful how I answer that question. I think that there are a vast amount of people that are not from that area that have retired to Oxford. And I think they are interested in it being a literary community. How serious they follow that and study Faulkner, I don't know. I know that there are a lot of grad students who are reading Faulkner all the time. But as far as, of course, even in Faulkner's day, many people that lived in Oxford did not think very much of him, and they did not think of him being a serious part of the community.
They thought he was unemployed.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
He didn't go to a job that they understood.
Right.
You tell a story sometimes about Faulkner in the community. Was it a clerk in a hardware store, a clerk at a lumber yard? What is it?
When I first moved to Mississippi and I bought my farm, there was a tremendous amount of work to do, and I went out to a little place called Discount Lumber and got some 2x4s, and as you're coming out, there's a guy outside who checks your tag to make sure you got the correct lumber that matches your receipt. And he saw I had started to make a serious study of Faulkner, and I decided to go all the way through and just read everything. And I had a copy of Absalom on my passenger seat, and he looked over and he looked over at me, and he's kind of a scruffy guy wearing a baseball hat, and he said, I always found the Unvanquished much more accessible. And I said, really? And he said, you need to try that. And he was right. It was a wonderful entry point into starting Faulkner. And of course, I had already gotten beyond that stage, but I went back and read The Unvanquished, and it's kind of the Rosetta Stone into letting everything click. And then once that fog clears from Faulkner and you understand it, everything is just can't compare.
Apparently, you had struck him as a person who wasn't ready for Absalom,
No.
who needed to step
Yep,
back.
Right, I guess.
And work your way in through the more accessible.
Yes.
I'm sure you're managing just fine with
I
the
did
Faulkner.
fine. Yes, yeah, I did fine.
You were one of the Auburn writers. We speak of, for an ag and tech and industrial school,
Yeah.
Auburn produces a lot of writers.
Yes.
You were not an English major, though. You were
No.
a journalism person.
Well, actually, I wasn't in the journalism school. I actually got a degree in mass communication, which was, I kind of wanted to hedge my bets. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do when I got out of school.
And down at Tampa, where you worked, you were a crime reporter?
I was a crime reporter. That was the job that a lot of people at the paper did not want. They wanted to move on to sports. They wanted to write in the features section. They wanted to do a variety of things. But for me, I knew the place to be was on the crime beat. And of course, very influenced by Hemingway. And Hemingway always talked about the best training he in the world was at the Kansas City Star, and going out chasing ambulances and getting to meet detectives and getting in and learning kind of the pulse of life, which in any major city is on that beat. Learning about what's going on from day to day, the major events, going to the city council meetings, finding out the way that your city ticks and the way it works. It was a wonderful education. And at that point in my life, I really could have gone one or two ways. I could have gone towards more of an MFA route, or I could have done what I did. And I will never regret getting out and learning to, finding out about life and meeting people at all different levels, and wonderful training.